Now we have a lecture on transcutaneous voltammetric evoked potential, known as TVEP. The basic idea is that there is a body electric. That is obvious because what we are is a collection of electrons. If we took all of the grains of sand on the entire planet Earth and times it by all the stars in the sky, we still have more electrons in the human body, and the electrons don't touch. We are basically a very large, vastly complicated electromagnetic field. The electrons are held together through electromagnetic static forces, quantic forces, photonic forces, and all these other basic principles of energy that make what we are. Now, the shark was first found to have a system in his nose to be able to detect electrical phenomena at a distance. We now find out that that same type of electrical analysis, that electrosense that we all have, as Spidey tells us, we all have an electrosense. That electrosense is in the human being been translated into the nasal pharynx and also all the different cells of the body. But the nasal pharynx has the most intense collection because this is where the shape receptors are. Now, for the shark living in salt water, there's a direct electroconductivity between the substances that have an electrical field and the shark's nose. However, in air, as we live in, the air is not electroconductive. So thereby we have taste sensors in the tongue and nose and shape receptors that allow those things to come in and touch. Now, for a long time people started using vials and electroenergy, and they did point probes and muscle testing, and they put substances into glass or plastic vials. The fact that you can't taste that means that you really can't experience it. There is no such thing as an electromagnetic energy of the substance in the vial that can be detected by the body. The body would detect the vial. The most powerful electromagnetic sensor we have is the shape receptors of the tongue. And if we taste the vial, we cannot tell what's inside the vial. Thereby, the idea of this electromagnetic testing did not produce verification or validity. It was shown to fail every double-blind testing. Every double-blind testing failed because it was unable to do this.
These devices were declared fraudulent because they said that they could detect reactions to different medications or different remedies, when in fact they could not. They were really just doing a type of archetypal intention of the therapist. Every double-blind that they used proved them to be fraudulent. In other words, if the therapist did not know what he was testing, he did not get the same results. But this, however, has been proved with the QQC, the TVEP, and the EPR.
What we have done is be able to take the science of voltammetry to make a measure of the signature of an item, of the substance, such as salt, such as orange, etc. Each of these items has a different flavor because we taste the voltammetric field of that item, the shape receptors. Now, in the study of voltammetry, be able to study the electromagnetic signature of an item. We've taken that science and tried to build a basic little system, a voltammetry system, that would work like the tongue to be able to measure the shape. Then we would take these electric shapes that we have measured with the patented system known as the QQC, and with the QQC, we're going to be able to take those substances, amplify them millions of times to be able to get a similar reactivity as that of the shark. In other words, the electromagnetic field of an item is measured, then that is stored in the hard drive of the computer, in the quantum coherency test kit, inside the SCIO system, and thereby it is then activated when we test these substances to a person to see how they react. It is very much through an electroconductivity process known as transcutaneous voltammetric evoked potential. From this system and from the research, because we've been doing this now for over 40 years, the first studies were done at Youngstown State University back in the 70s, and then gradually developing patents and developing different ideas to come to the system today. By measuring this quantum quality control tri-vector field pattern, we can then subject a patient to it and see how the patient reacts to that pattern. If we do this very rapidly, because the speed of human reaction is about 1/100th of a second, if we do this very rapidly, we can measure thousands of items in a very short period of time. This is known as the zeroid. So this is the basic science of how we can measure the TVEP, transcutaneous voltammetric evoked potential, or measure the electrophysiological reactivity of a person to an item.
So as we have shown through the patents, through the science, the technology, the registration, the validation, the verification, the 40-year history of being able to measure the TVEP and electrophysiological reactivity, the SCIO device has been able to do medication testing. I welcome you to look and to find out more.